Now at 6, an economic boom in Pitt County. We're getting reaction from people still talking about last week's announcement of a Vietnamese company coming to Greenville.
We're also getting more details about an active scene in Charlotte today. What we know so far, as several officers are hurt.
Plus, a look at how the governor wants to tax sports betting. This as more gambling could soon become legal.
And a swing state showdown, the latest poll showing a tight race for the presidential election coming up in just 190 days. All those stories and more coming up in less than 1 minute.
Now, it's your forecast first from Storm Team 9.
Outside today, we enjoyed a warm day of weather in eastern North Carolina, borderline hot for some of our inland locations. Rocky Mount at 84, Greenville at 82, 74 in Beaufort, and 69 degrees over in Cape Hatteras. No rainfall showing up on the local radar imagery tonight. We're devoid of shower and thunderstorm activity, with most of the active weather still a few states off to the west. Now, eventually, we will see a better chance of rain by midweek. We'll have those details coming up in your complete Storm Team 9 forecast. The longest running newscast in the East starts now.
This is breaking news from WNCT 9 on your side.
Crazy, I'll stop right there. Oh, they busted. Do we take cover?
This is the moment shots are fired in an East Charlotte neighborhood earlier today. Tonight, Charlotte-Mecklenburg police say 3 officers and the suspect in this shooting are all dead. In total, 8 officers are shot today. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us here at 6. I'm Ken Watlington.
And I'm Courtney Courtwright. All of this started just before 2 this afternoon. We're going to show you video now from the East Charlotte neighborhood earlier today on Galway Drive. Charlotte-Mecklenburg police say the scene is now clear. They say the U.S. Marshals Service conducted an investigation there when a suspect started shooting at them.
And Governor Roy Cooper is responding to this shooting. In a post on social media, Cooper writes, quote, "I am in contact with law enforcement concerning the tragic shooting in the Charlotte area, and we have offered state resources to help." You can stay up to date on everything happening in Charlotte minute by minute. We have this story pinned to the top of our WNCT.com homepage. Get the latest updates and other videos from the scene all right there on this story on WNCT.com.
And back here in the East, we're also following the announcement of the company Boviet coming to Pitt County. They're a solar power manufacturing plant.
The company is expected to bring some 900 new jobs. Now to your sides, Erin Jenkins has been looking into this development. She's in the studio now. And Erin, this is a big deal for our area.
It really is. Economic development experts say it is huge when you consider hundreds of jobs being added for different levels of work. And it's not just for people in Pitt County, but people across eastern North Carolina. I talked with Greenville ENC Alliance today to see what exactly goes into attracting a company like this.
For a company that size and a capital investment that large, you know, they take no shortcuts. There can be no risk. There can be no question marks.
For Boviet, there weren't many question marks as they chose Greenville over places like Phoenix and Atlanta.
This particular project, it was a heavy utility component to it. They needed to be up and running in a certain amount of time, which required a certain amount of space, which while we had an existing building put us on the map. But they also have expansion plans, so you have to be able to meet those plans with property and assets that they're going to need in the future. And on top of that, you have to compete on price.
Having a good workforce nearby was also a plus for the company, who will bring nearly $300 million in economic investment.
You look at Greenville, Pitt County, and you say, okay, well, there's an opportunity here that this community can continue to grow and provide the labor force and skills needed with the assets that we have with ECU and PCC.
Greenville ENC Alliance worked to attract the Vietnamese company to our area. They say this could be the trend moving forward.
Foreign direct investment to the United States is probably the largest opportunities for communities. Those are the companies that are looking to get into the U.S. market because they're either having to ship their product here and deal with the supply chain and supply issues that come with that territory.
This investment could also mean good things in the future for business in eastern North Carolina.
There'll be another, business case that people will look at and say, hey, we can be successful here, and the community is super supportive. The county, the city, the state are working in unison. They are at the same table and they are supporting the projects.
Greenville ENC Alliance says they expect the company to start putting out job applications in the next few months for certain positions. The average annual salary will be above the Pitt County average salary at more than $50,000. We'll keep you updated when those applications open. In the studio, Aaron Jenkins, 9 on your side.
Aaron, thank you. New at 6 in Lenoir County, 5 people are recovering after a crash involving 4 cars. Officials say it happened just before 2:30 this afternoon at the intersection of Jim Sutton Road and US 70 West. That's in the Little Baltimore area of LaGrange. Officials say 1 person was taken by helicopter to ECU Health in Greenville. The other 4 people were taken to UNC Health Lenoir in Kinston. They have minor injuries. The crash still under investigation.
Also in Lenoir County, 1 man is back in jail facing more charges for his possible role in the death of a 3-year-old last year. The Lenoir County Sheriff's Office says 29-year-old Chasen Walker is now charged with first-degree murder. They say a grand jury indicted him last week and he turned himself in on Saturday. Investigators say on July 3rd of last year, they arrested Walker after a 3-year-old died after a cardiac arrest. They say that child had bruising on his body. They also say there were also 2 other children in the home. Walker was already facing 3 child abuse charges. Developing now out of Duplin County, officials say 1 man is dead after a fire. It happened last night on Clinic Circle Drive near Rose Hill. Firefighters say they found 88-year-old Morale Chaston in the fire. He was taken out but later died because of his injuries. Investigators are now working to figure out what caused this fire. Also developing tonight in Kinston, police say a 50-year-old Dover man is recovering after getting hit by a car. Investigators say it happened around 11:30 last night in the 1900 block of Tower Hill Road. Officers say the driver of the car, 50-year-old Anthony Belcher, hit the pedestrian after swerving to miss an animal that ran out onto the road. Belcher is now facing several charges, including for speeding. The pedestrian was taken to the hospital. We're still working to learn more about that person and his condition tonight. A man is in jail after Rocky Mount police say he robbed an elderly woman at an ATM. Police say an anonymous tip led them to 37-year-old Antoine Billups. He's at the Nash County Jail on a $25,000 bond. Police say Billups robbed an 83-year-old at the ATM at the PNC Bank on Beverly Road Friday afternoon. The victim is recovering from minor injuries. And in Carteret County tonight, the Sheriff's Office still needs your help looking for the person responsible for stealing these boats. We first told you about this last night. Deputies say they found the boats this morning at LB Page Construction in Cape Carteret. They say the motors, though, were taken off the boats. Investigators say the boats were stolen Saturday night. 2 boats from Boats 365 off of Highway 24, the other from Goose Creek Marina. Deputies say they believe the person responsible is driving a dark-colored Ford F-250 truck with dark-colored rims. If you know of any suspicious activity at LB Page Construction on Saturday night between 9 and midnight, you're asked to call the Carteret County Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Governor Roy Cooper wants lawmakers to address the higher tax bill people who are betting on sports could have next year, even if they lose. If you win at least $600 from sports betting, you'll get a tax form next year, and companies will report this information to the IRS. But here's how you could owe, even if you do lose. Say you place a bet and win $9,000. Then you gamble with that and lose the whole $9,000. The state does not let you deduct your losses. So for tax purposes, you still won $9,000 and would owe North Carolina $405, even though you didn't make any money.
It's really important that taxpayers understand what they're getting into when they gamble, that this is going to be income.
Governor Roy Cooper posted on social media that legislators should fix this. He wants them to act before the session ends in a couple of months. WNCT is your local election headquarters, and with a little more than 6 months to go before Election Day, a new CBS News poll shows a very tight presidential race in 3 battleground states. The first CBS News battleground tracker poll of this year is finding Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania are in a statistical tie between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. In all 3 states, 80% of voters say the economy is a major factor in their vote, and Trump has an early edge. Both men have been visiting the 3 states, which Biden won in 2020, to share their views on the economy.
We know the best way to build an economy is from the middle out and the bottom up.
We will quickly rebuild the greatest economy in the history of the world.
In Pennsylvania, only 21% of registered voters say they think they would be financially better off if Biden is reelected, compared to 47% if Trump returns to office. And President Biden will be visiting the Tar Heel state later this week. According to our CBS affiliate in Wilmington, WWAY, the president will be in the port city on Thursday. Details are limited about his visit, but he's expected to talk about water quality issues. This comes just over a week or so after former President Trump was supposed to hold a rally in Wilmington, but that rally was canceled because of severe weather.
And before we get to November, there are some primary races that need to be decided right here in North Carolina. Early voting is happening right now for the runoff election. 2 statewide races are on your ballot. One is for the Republican nomination for lieutenant governor. The other is for the Republican nomination for state auditor. The final day to vote early is May 11th. The runoff election is May 15th. And to find out where you can vote in this runoff election, head over to WNCT.com. There you'll find what you're looking at with me right now. This, your local election headquarters page. It's full of information you need to know about the candidates running on your ballot, as well as stories leading up to the November general election. You can find this page by hovering your mouse over the news tab on the top banner and clicking your local election headquarters.
Still ahead here on WNCT 9 News at 6, naming the baseball team. How you can help one team find their identity before their big move.
Plus, the chaos continues. How fans of the Carolina Hurricanes are getting ready for tomorrow night's Game 5 against the New York Islanders.
And outside today, a gorgeous start to the work week here in eastern North Carolina. Can we keep the dry streak going? We've got your 7-day forecast and some changes next.
Coming up tonight on the CBS Evening News, the new tornado threats after more than 60 twisters touched down this weekend, and the fear as devastated areas brace for more dangerous storms this week. What you need to watch. Those headlines and more tonight on the CBS Evening News.